Members, hello! Welcome to a day of me frantically trying to find wardrobe for this Valentine's Day 2017 photo shoot. Yay! So, I've had this idea for this photo shoot that will fit into faraway February, but I have not been able to find the right wardrobe. It sometimes happens like that when I have a specific idea where I can't quite bring it to fruition because of wardrobe. Sometimes I will make the wardrobe. Often I have made, well, maybe not often, a lot of times I've made the wardrobe. Or I can kind of figure something out from things that I have. I keep stuff around, basic things, t-shirts, sweaters, tank tops, lingerie, things that I know that will be handy for a lot of different situations. Unfortunately, I do not have what I want for this shoot though. I don't typically purchase new things for a shoot unless I'm going to be able to use them again, either in my real life or in or for SnapChick. Wardrobe for photo shoots is not a write-off for your taxes, in case you were curious. So it's not something that I can just have my business pay for. Even if I did, I still couldn't just go out and buy whatever I wanted. So that's where we are, and my mini tax tutorial apparently. Yellow light. I hate it when that happens. Okay. So here's the deal. By the way, I feel like I should apologize now for audio. I forgot to bring my little smart lav that I clip on, my little lavalier mic. But I wanted to talk to you guys while I was driving around because it's a busy day. In fact, earlier today, I posted my unboxing, for lack of a better term, but it really wasn't an unboxing. I just opened up the box that my new DJI Mavic drone is in, or was in. It's now sitting on my desk because I need to calibrate it and stuff. But long story, I don't have a cable long enough to calibrate it. Anyway, I will figure all of that out this weekend. I am just absolutely ecstatic about it, but I need to get this Valentine's Day photo shoot. Unfortunately, I am being a grown-up and I am prioritizing today, and my priority today is to get the stuff for this Valentine's Day photo shoot and completely cement how I'm going to do it, because I want to have a few days with all of the things so that I can set up my studio and get it all set up so I can start visualizing in my head all the posing and everything that I want to do. I guess while I'm driving here, let me tell you my inspiration for this shoot. My inspiration for this shoot is really the idea of far away February. I want to do something that ties into the theme in dreaminess, far away in your mind. You know, I want to have a very dreamy feel to these photos. I think I'm going to achieve that by making things bright, light colors. I'm also going to try to achieve that by making this kind of hazy, I think, and there's a few ways I can do that. I'm not even positive I'm going to make it hazy, but I might dip my toe in the whole DIY plastic sandwich bag around the lens idea. Something I've never tried that, and it caught my eye the other day, so I was like, I've seen it a bunch of times. It's not the first time, but it's something I've never tried, so I thought maybe that would be interesting. I, however, am going to definitely be rearranging my studio for this, because while these will be studio photos, because I haven't done studio photos in a while, while these will be studio photos, they are not going to be on a backdrop. They're going to be in my studio, but I'm going to create an environment within my studio. So I have light gray walls in there, and I have a couple of very large windows. In case you guys are new, you may not know, my studio space is actually the master bedroom of my home. I moved my bedroom some years ago after I started SnapChick into the guest bedroom. What was supposed to be the guest bedroom or the office. And the largest room, the bedroom and suite, is my studio. So it makes, if you think about it, it's usually one of the largest rooms in the house, and it's something that where I can tuck away my work into this room. It's not the living room where I did have my studio instead of a living room for a long time. I had my desk down there for a long time. I mean, I like to move things around, but anyway, it's a bedroom suite. So there's a lot of windows in there, and that is going to play into how I want to do this, because I want to shoot into those windows. So I'm going to drag in a mattress from it's like a guest mattress that I have. It's not really big, and I'm going to drag it in onto the floor, put some white sheets on it, and I actually purchased a new set of model sheets, I call them. It's a set of sheets that I have specifically that I never sleep on. I only use it for taking photos. So there's a model on it. Sometimes that's me, sometimes it's a different model, or even if I have like a boudoir client in. And I like to have a set of sheets like that, because I can say to this client or this model, these are my model sheets, because my studio's in my home, and a lot of times we're taking photos on my bed, and that can seem a little bit weird. It's a little weird to me. Can be a little weird to them. So I just like to be really clear. This is a set of sheets that is clean, it's fresh, it's new, they've never been slept on. This is like for taking photos only. I feel like it's like, just enough degrees of separation to usually put people at ease. Anyway, I'm gonna do that. Put them on the ground, shoot into those windows. I like that I have a dark floor in there, because it'll kind of ground the photos. Even though everything else is going to be nice and bright, it'll kind of it'll kind of ground them. That's the only way I can explain it, I guess. But beyond that, I will probably use some studio lighting to illuminate me just enough, and we'll see how that goes. My thought for clothing is, this being Valentine's Day and all, I was thinking some sort of lingerie or lingerie inspired outfit, but I just haven't found what I wanted. I wanted something, and I just had this specific idea in my head. I wanted something lace. I wanted something creamy colored, not pink, not red, not seafoam green, not lavender, creamy white. And not bright white either. I wanted it to be kind of off-white. Well, me trying to find that and trying to find something that fits me and would be good for shooting just is not working out this year. It's not working out. So I have been on a couple of different shopping trips. I hate shopping, so I can never last very long out at the mall or wherever. So today's the day. I am going to find some stuff. I have to run some errands. I have to get some cat food, and I'm going to see what I can do. Currently, my plan is, if I don't find something lacy, I'm thinking something sporty. That's me. And really, I guess rewinding back to my inspiration, I don't really have a single point of inspiration for this shoot like I maybe have in the past. In this one, I just thought, I want to do something dreamy. And as I was going through my old photo shoots, all my old Valentine's Day photo shoots, I came across last year's, which was a lot of fun. It was the pinup shoot. You guys, I'm sure, will have seen it. By the time you see this, I have been rewinding to all my Valentine's Day shoots, because that's just fun to do. And last year's was pinup. and I was made up. I actually got my hair and makeup done. It was in the studio, but I was highly made up. I had a lot of makeup on. There was a lot of hair going on, and yeah, it was neat, but it wasn't. I was playing a character. It was not me. I am not a pinup girl. It's probably the farthest thing from my own character. So, so I thought this year I am going to do something a little more me. So let me park here. Okay. We're in the Target parking lot now. So I thought I'm going to do something a little more me and a little more natural. Not a lot of makeup, not a lot of hair. And I mean, I'm new, fairly freshly back to brunette, which is my natural hair color. I mean, I don't know what my real hair color is, but something like this. I'm certainly not blonde. And I have been blonde a lot in the last, 5 years or so, maybe even since the beginning of SnapChick, I've been headed towards blonde. Until recently, I was like, all right, that's enough. I have to go back. I got to go back to my roots, literally. So anyway, I'm thinking something a little more me. So if I don't find something lacy and pretty, maybe something sporty will do. Maybe, in fact, something sporty would be good, because that's me. I just have to figure out how to tie that in and make it all make sense, as a scene. It would be easy to do something, lacy, because you're in the bed, it's lacy, it's sexy, it just goes together. Something sporty might be a little bit different, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll see how it turns out. I usually am able to kind of work things together. One thing that I did also purchase was some white sheer curtain panels from IKEA for $5 for a set of them. I bought a couple of sets, and they're pretty much just white netting. Someone's car alarm is going off. I'm going to take down the dark drapes that I have up. I have these dark, like, blackout drapes up. I'm going to take those down and just replace them with these white ones, so that when I shoot into these windows, there's a little bit of interest to break up the very hard edges of the window, but also I might need to filter a little bit of the light coming in. I don't know how well these are going to do. I'm going to set this up this weekend and see how it all works out. I'm going to open one package of the drapes and see how it works out. I will let you guys know about that. I'll let you in on that little process. But my initial thought was these soft mesh curtains with lots of light coming in. I'm wearing something lacy, kind of mirrors the mesh curtains. White all around me with the curtains, with the sheets, with kind of what I was wearing, light gray walls. But we'll see how it all turns out. I have talked to you guys enough for now. I have to go in to Target and get some cat food. Even though I'm supposed to get the cat food at the vet, I'm not doing that today. And I'm going to see what they have by way of wardrobe. Sometimes I just walk around in the clothing or lingerie department and just see, because sometimes I can get an idea just from looking at stuff. The jewelry department too. A lot of times I can just go in there and take a look at things and say, okay, I may not have the lacy bra. If I have a plain bra, what if I have some kind of fun necklace on? Will that create enough interest? Will that make the look interesting enough to carry the shoot off well enough? So anyway, things I think about behind the scenes. I will talk to you guys later. All right, guys, now let's take a look at the photos that I have done in Lightroom, and I'll share with you the editing process, and then I will share the gallery with you. So to start out, you can see at the very end there that I have already have a couple of these photos edited. Now that I have figured out my process, let me share it with you. So first, let's just use this photo. These two are similar, so I'm going to do these at the same time. I want to do some skin smoothing to start out. I don't want to do a lot of skin smoothing, so I'm going to use Color Efex Pro 4, and I like using the dynamic skin softener, but I always dial back what the defaults are for this, and today I am dialing it way back. So I'm just doing just the smallest amount of smoothing out of my skin. This is one of the reasons why I really like this filter set, is because they are so customizable. I can change everything. I can change, what the color is that I'm wanting to adjust or affect rather, and I can choose the reach of that color, how much of that color, how close in shade, and then the details that I want to mask. In this case, not very much, but I can take a look at both photos and then I can process them at the same time. Looks good. Let's save. I like to check these just to make sure that I feel like the color that Color Efex Pro has chosen for me, the skin color, it's always really close, but every once in a while, especially when there's a lot of shadow, I like to adjust it. In this case, before I do any further editing, I need to adjust the crop on this, because you can see the black triangle in the corner. That is the softbox of the light that was on me. And I'll explain the gear in just a little bit here. I want to go through editing first though. So let's see. Let's see if I just crop that thing right out. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I like it. We're good. Now let's talk about the actual filter that I used. What I did to start out was I went to, like I said before, I knew the look that I wanted, but I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to get there. And I thought, I am actually going to do one of the things that I like to do, which is take a look at presets that others have created, just to see what they have. And then sometimes I'll use those as a starting off point to move on to what I really want. And that's what I did in this case. I first used a filter that was downloaded. It's called Roller Coaster Report something, but I changed it a lot. It's not at all what Roller Coaster actually looked like, but I made my own little preset out of it so that I can apply it to all of my other images. So in this one, you can see that I have some stuff in the background. Let's just see what it looks like if I just crop out the softbox in the corner, because I don't necessarily mind seeing the other stuff in the background on the left-hand side. Maybe 8 by 10. Yeah, that looks good. And then using my filter, I think we're good to go. I do need to straighten this though. Fixed. Now let me show you what all of these changes are, because there are so many changes changes meaning editing. There's so many edits to this photo in all of these different categories. Exposure was brought up. What Raymond did was he exposed mostly for I guess what he did was he really kind of split the difference between what I told him I wanted the background to look like, which was blown out pretty much like it is here, but also he split the difference between that and having me lit up enough. So I was a little in shadow, a little too dark in the original image. the background was a little too dark in the original image. So we really had to bring everything up to obtain the look that I wanted. So going through, you can see all of these changes: contrast, highlight, shadows, all of these things got adjusted. I think all of these ones at the top, these were all except for the exposure. Those were all adjusted, as well as this tone curve, because that's a wonky looking tone curve, isn't it? All of those were adjusted using that roller coaster filter, and I didn't change any of those. I did bring up, you know what, I guess I did bring the shadows back down quite a bit, and I also brought exposure up. I left this tone curve though. And then I did some work in the colors, really just with the hue. I wanted to bring that magenta over a little bit more on the pink side because, like I said before, I wanted these to look pink. And then in the highlights and shadows, in the split toning department here, I messed around with these. The original filter did have some split toning, but I changed it. I changed it so that the highlights were more on the pinky side and the shadows were a little more on the blue aqua side. That kind of resulted in this pinkish, maybe even a little purplish tone, but you can see that the saturation of the toning is not very much. So I didn't want to go overboard with that. And then coming down, I had mentioned earlier that maybe I would want to use a plastic sandwich bag to get the hazy look around the edges. And that would have been fun to play with, but I didn't do it this time. So what I did was actually used this post-crop vignetting, and I just made the edges brighter. And that is all of the editing that I did. So talking about the gear, you can see the settings here. We used the Nikon D810 and the 70-200 f2.8 lens. Because we were shooting into the windows, we shot in manual at ISO 64 at f2.8, and the shutter speed was right around 1/100th for every single one of them. As for lighting, I brought in a couple of fluorescent continuous lights that have soft boxes on them. We ended up using only one of those lights for most of the shots, and that was it for lighting. This shoot was definitely challenging because I did have this idea in my head for what I wanted, and not being able to achieve that right away, with wardrobe and then trying to figure out how to make the environment was definitely frustrating. But I think in the end, my persistence basically, pulled me through, and I was able to get the shots that I really wanted to get. And in fact, you guys actually have a fairly large gallery to take a look at. So go ahead and take a look at these photos and let me know what you think. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.